Good afternoon. This is Jeneen from Jeneen Cares, where we're caring, achieving, restoring, empowering, and supporting our youth for the future. I'm here with another legacy leader, this time a bison, and I've highlighted a few bisons. HU, you know. I'm excited because he is a realtor, and I think right now financial fortitude is something that needs to be present on all of our minds. And so as we're being restorative and reflective, I want you to think money, right? Money is important. I want you to think commerce. I want you to think politicians. I want you to think, talking about how you can, have a legacy for your children. I am a homeowner twice. I have a home independently. I have a home with my husband. And so for me, it's been a priority to make sure I invest in the future of my legacy. And so I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about your legacy and how you became a realtor and what you're doing and how you can highlight or teach a little bit for a quick moment. I know you're a busy man and have things back to back. And so thank you for your time today. And just, if you will, just share a little bit about yourself. I know that you went to Heyward. I know you are Alpha Chapter, Omega Man. And so what else can you tell us about yourself?
Well, first, let me thank you for the interview, Jeneen. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to just come on and share what little bit of information that I can. I've always had a big heart and want to share as much information as I can. A lot of my clients will tell you that I almost drown them sometimes in information. So I applaud you for this platform and doing what you're doing to help share this information. And thanks again for allowing me on. My story is pretty wild. I got into real estate really roundabout after Heyward, or even while at Heyward. My father always, pumped into my ear entrepreneurship. All right. Now he is a full-time pastor. He and my mother. But growing up, he did have a clear understanding that the concept of, get a degree, get a job, work 40 years, retire, was really beginning to phase out. And if you wanted to live a certain level, on a certain level of life, to enjoy this thing we call life a little bit, that you need to do a little bit more than just kind of what we've been taught. So coming out of Heyward, I only put out one application going to school. It was to a company called Spear Leeds and Kellogg. It was on the New York Stock Exchange up in New York. I did get that job, went straight to Wall Street coming out of Heyward, spent about 3.5, 4 years there, working as a trading clerk on the floor of the stock exchange. Left there, came back to Maryland, was a financial advisor with UBS Payne Weber for a while, did a lot of retirement plans for smaller companies and higher net worth individuals. And really decided that, what, I got tired of using my knowledge of investing and wealth creation simply to make the richer richer. I really wanted to help the average the average person do some things in their life that would absolutely help them move forward and their families forward financially, not just in this lifetime, but generationally. Really starting to do some of those things, really starting to take advantage of those pillars of wealth that we talk about. So I decided after about a year of being a financial advisor and that, I'm going into real estate. I had a severance package from Wall Street that began to dwindle. I believe I was down to my last $3,000. I'm sure my ex will tell you. I took my last $3,000. I went and got my real estate license, got me some signs, started with Weicker Realtors back in 2002. I believe I was an office top producer in the first 3 months. And it's been a ride. Done some of everything in real estate thus far. I've of course, full-time realtor. I've been a loan officer, spent some time as an appraiser's assistant. I've rehabbed homes, held homes and rented them out. I've owned a property management company. So very little I haven't done in real estate, and really proud that I'm able to bring a really full spectrum of understanding to my clients in real estate. So that's how I got here.
That's exciting. What a journey. I mean, you've been all over in the real estate market and Wall Street and all those things. That's awesome to hear of that story. I am excited for people to reach out and connect with you to be able to purchase or to learn from you. If you want to shout out your website or where people can find you.
Absolutely, please. Website is DMV, as in DC, Maryland, Virginia. Anyone in the area who knows DMV. So DMVrealestatestore.com. A little long, but it absolutely gets the message across. On Instagram, I am the DMV Real Estate Guy. On Facebook, you can find me at Heyward Homes. That's HeywardHomes.
Okay, and I'll put all that in the description as well. So thank you for sharing that. That's exciting. Multiple places to find him if you want more information, if you want to buy a home especially, but definitely. I like hearing that you did appraisal assistant as well. I'm actually looking to get appraisal right now, and so that's interesting. I think you have a lot of wealth of information. You should probably teach a little class on that to really help people that are new to the game.
I used to.
You
I
did?
used to. I do have a program where, I'll charge folks $500 a month to really use me as a consulting source.
Nice.
And I really did that because a lot of folks sometimes don't understand just how much information is involved in being successful in real estate, not just as a realtor, but as an owner, as an investor. There's a lot that goes to it, and there are a lot of pitfalls. Some people latch on to it, but it's available. If anyone wants to call me, 240-604-9639, we can definitely discuss it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that information and your contact information as well. You would use one word that I want to kind of just get your definition of what it means. Generational wealth. What did you say? I know what my assumptions are, but I'm not a business-minded individual either. And so for the sake of our students or our parents or our people who are trying to build that, how would you define generational wealth?
Well, we find ourselves, particularly in the African-American community right now, where we are in a generation that for the first time is not where we're not projected to outpace what our parents did. The African-American community is actually retracting as it comes to wealth. And there's, we can have a conversation on why that is, from, the effects of integration on the community, the effects of systemic racism and all those other things. But at the core, I think it's a lack of information that we have. Again, going right back to some of those, systemic issues that we have in the country, we have to be very intentional about educating ourselves on finances, on money, how it works, how to keep it. And then, yes, generational wealth. A son is supposed to do more than his father. A son or a daughter should not have to start the same place that their parents started at. The parents should, at the end of their life, should be able to provide something so that son or daughter can say, you know what, my parents started with the sharecropping, but I'm going to start with a degree. And then the next, well, I started with a degree. My dad started with a degree. I'm going to start with a business. And so we should build generational to generation, not just the material that we own, but the knowledge that we're sharing with our kids so that they don't have to start where we started from. Absolutely. And be subjected to what we've been subjected to.
I love that. And I love that. And that ties connectly with the theme legacy leadership. And I believe that it's the same thing as you teach your son, daughter, children, students, people that are near you, what you have learned over your lifetime, you expect that they will do better than what you've done, right? That's the same kind of concept. General wealth or legacy leadership and education. So same concept. So moving forward over to our restorative practices. In restorative practices, we think about building community. That's really important. And for me, I've done a lot of building of community since COVID. And so my next question for you is, what are some things that have been on your mind since March 13th is what it was for me in Maryland? I'm not sure what your date was, but everybody remembers the date that they went on quarantine. They're counting down and like, woohoo. And some of us, who have had, family members impacted by COVID have even more of a memorable experience about, their feelings throughout this time that we're going through. What are some of the things that's been on your mind?
Wow, that's man, you just asked a mouthful there, Jeneen. A lot has been on my mind. If you talk to people who know me, because of my background, born in Atlanta, Georgia, grew up in the deep South.
Oh, wow.
And because of some of those experiences growing up, it has really colored my view of the world.
Hmm.
For years, probably from the time I was in third or fourth grade, I have been very vocal about the racial divide in America.
Interesting.
And really everything that I do is a platform for one, the bringing up of the African American community, one, and two, the reconciliation of one community to the other. But I don't believe that the reconciliation can happen until the African American community is standing on its own feet, producing for itself, and then we can come to the table. Not only with demands, but with some power to enforce, some of those demands.
Right. And that definitely comes along with the restorative nature. Like we have to be connecting with each other. And I will say
Absolutely.
in Frederick here, I am seeing a lot of connecting going on. I'm in like a lot of different groups. People are tagging me and on posts that that's not normal for me. That's something new that's starting to occur. They're tagging me when they know my mindset, because I've been really vocal
Right.
about how I believe in things recently. And so people are just tagging me and including me, and they're inviting me to these groups and things. And so I love the energy that I'm seeing. But I just recently bought a t-shirt that said, keep that energy, right? Because we
keep the energy.
Have to keep it. We have to act on it. We have to have those courageous conversations with the right people to make sure that there is a change. And I definitely agree with that.
And they're happening. They're happening. I had a I've always been known as, Bernie Sanders is probably to my right. I'll put it that way. Okay. I speak my mind, for better or worse, but I understand that, listen, some things have to change. And what we're seeing now, I can tell you I've been predicting for 25 years. And I believe what is happening today is an obvious result of what has happened the last 25, 50, 100, 400 years in America. We are on a trajectory. And even my father, the great Reverend Doctor, finally has to admit, a lot of people that have kicked back on some of the things that I've said throughout time have to admit that, you know what? Yeah, you might have been right. And hey, listen, if America isn't careful, America no empire lasts forever.
Yeah.
And I've always understood that. No empire lasts forever. And unfortunately, what's going to destroy this empire is the concept of race. And that's what we see happening.
We solely are going to stay hopeful that doesn't occur, but I definitely see the areas of growth that are needed to unite, and it's just not there yet. A lot of people are just not ready yet. So of all
that's the silver lining, though, right, that some people are finally coming across. I think the African American community have always known what's going on. I think the really awesome part is that you have some folks that we would consider Caucasian or white. That's a whole nother conversation using these terms that we label ourselves with. But so that the artist can understand, there's more white folks that are actually really being vocal about, what? You guys have been saying it. Now with the internet and these videos, I'm seeing it. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, I've been very impressed about Frederick Community. Like when I went to the march that was, first of all, sponsored by students, our youth led a march in Frederick. Awesome. There is a great presence of everyone there, and everyone with the same kind of like energy, and that was just amazing to see. And my tagline has been one community together strong. I'm like, Frederick Restorative leads. It was just what a wonderful kind of silver lining, as you say. So what has been the hardest thing for you in this time recently, or in this time at home?
Oh man, the hardest time, the hardest thing is always been time management for me. single father. I have 4 boys total, 3 currently still, in the home, running a business, making sure that not only, that they have their lessons, but we're having these discussions about current events. And as many Black fathers out there understand, there's a little extra, a couple of extra conversations that we have to have with our sons, for the world that we're dealing in. So yeah, that's the hardest part, has really been trying to figure out what they need to get through this time period, and making sure that they understand that they can do whatever it is that they want to do, and regardless of what's happening around them, that they can keep their mind focused, if they can keep their thoughts right. There's nothing that they can't do. So that's really what my focus has been, and trying to make sure that I come up with different ways to instill that in them.
Yeah, that's my tagline as well. Lead, reminding our scholars to learn all that they can learn from everywhere, and every book, every person they come in contact with, especially their elders, and
Absolutely.
empower others, and to be around people that will empower them always, right? And you said
Absolutely.
earlier too. Then to act, and we just talked about, keep that energy, but do something with it. Like, don't just talk about it, be about it, as we say.
Be
right?
about it. Be about it.
And then dream big, and you just said that too, as well as making sure people understand that there's nothing you can't do if you work hard enough, or you bring the right people around you to help you make it happen. So lead. We're asking you scholars to just lead, and we have your back.
We got your back.
Class of 2020, I deemed them the visionary leaders. They were born near 9/11. The whole world was shocked.
They doing it right.
Yes, they were.
Yes, that's right.
Right now, they're hating COVID, but they're loving TikTok. So that was my little rhyme. So, final question. 2 more questions. Positivity as a leader. You're a leader. You come out of Howard, you're naturally born a leader, right? HU, 25 years for myself.
Yes.
My line, Veracious 64, I chapter spring of 96. And so leadership is just something that's just ingrained. When I came into Howard, I was in the marching band. Man, I was a part of the marching band, and there was a pledge process for that. And I think I was supporting the KK side, and I was a side sweetheart. There's a process for that. So there's always a process that builds leadership. Getting validated at Howard was a leadership moment. When you got that validation card, you were like, woohoo! So there's always opportunities for leadership and growth. And so as you think about your leadership, whatever lens that you want to go through, how are you remaining positive? You said you're a single dad with, how are you remaining positive in all of it? And I know there's got to be a little bit of anxiety there, right? So how do you remain positive?
Well, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional about remaining positive. Typically when I wake up in the morning, my natural routine is to turn on E.T. the hip hop preacher. I think E.T. is really, really awesome. And
E.T. the hip hop preacher?
He does have a church.
Okay.
And he's a brother who just puts it the way it is. He understands who he is.
Huh.
And I think that's, if more people understood just who they were.
Yes. I like that.
And don't be ashamed. Yes, people are gonna look at you and laugh. People are gonna look at you and look down. People are gonna judge you. That's life.
Be you, right?
But be you, and eventually being you will get you where you want to be. And he just is who he is. He's loud, he's boisterous, he wears sneakers and hats, not suits and ties, and that's just who he is.
I love that. And so you start your day with that. And are there anything that you do? Is there anything, goodness gracious, that you do with your children to help them remain positive? Affirmations or anything?
I do believe in affirmations. I do believe in, the power of words.
Yes.
And so, yes, if you come to my house, you'll see sayings up, posted on the wall, hey, your words are powerful. How are you using them today? You can be anything you want to be.
So
I'm very big on posting up affirmations, reaffirming them and who they are,
which is very important.
which is very important, and really allowing them to be who they are. You know, parents, I believe, really need to understand how to discipline their children in love. I used to get spanked all the time. Of course, I probably deserved a lot of them.
Good child. My brother was the one, and when he used to get it, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna mess it up. I would cry just watching him. So I'm like, I'm good.
I was hard headed. I am a very
hard headed. It's off.
And my behind has been soft on many a day. But sometimes that's who people are. Again, you just have to understand who you are.
Bump your head a couple times, right?
Sometimes I have to bump my head. And so I allow my kids to bump their heads and have real conversations with them with, son, why did you do that? That was wrong. And then have that conversation of why it happened, what they did, with the understanding that you gotta get punished. As father, and so I make sure they understand that I'm not doing this because I'm angry at you. I'm doing this because I love you, and you need some type of punishment so that you understand that there are ramifications to actions.
I love that. That ties perfectly with what a restorative practitioner does. Imagine for you, if you will, your favorite person in life, the person you respect most. I would imagine maybe it's your father, because you talk about him a little bit in this interview. And so he probably was one that was high in control, right? But also very supportive. And you just spoke to how you're doing that with your children. You're understanding, hey, look, when you mess up, there's going to be a consequence. You already know that's how we do, right? But at the same time, I want you to understand, I want you to hold yourself accountable. So I'm sure as you're raising them, you're saying, okay, tell me how you messed up versus like, here's what you did, right? Because at some point, you don't have to say the same thing over and over again. You're holding them accountable. And so what my day job is I'm the achievement specialist for school culture, and I'm teaching people to be restorative in nature, as you just described. Oftentimes we have parents that, kind of talk at the students, or teachers that talk at the students and don't really listen to where they messed up, so they don't ever change the behavior. And the restorative practitioner understands that, like you said, I still love you, but you're going to get a consequence. And we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to hold you accountable, and you're going to hold yourself accountable. And then we're going to get through it. And you're hopefully not going to repeat the same behavior again. Versus the punitive leader, that was, high control, but there's no support. A lot of times we find that in the police department. A lot of times we find that in school districts. Two conversations, quite frankly. Again, this is Jeneen Cares, where we're caring, restoring, empowering, and supporting. We want to have those conversations with our police officers and with our educators to make sure that you understand how important it is to be what we just talked about, restorative versus punitive. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, kind of chime in on the control piece. Something that my father did, and something that I try to warn parents about, is that piece right there, especially single moms. You have to let your kids fall sometimes.
Right.
I won't even say single moms, period.
Yeah.
Moms understand love. Baby, I love you. You always my baby. You ain't never gonna do nothing wrong. Whatever you need, I have you. And those are things that parents should do. At the same time, if we want to grow responsible adults, we have to start taking our hands off early enough so that children can fall without being hurt too bad. It's one thing for your child to go out, and I'm going to say this with a little bit of tongue in cheek here. When I was younger, at 11, 12, and 13 years old, you could go out and the police might mess with you, but a lot of times they would bring you home.
Right.
And that's starting to change a little bit, where the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kid is getting killed. He's not coming home anymore. So you almost have to adjust how you raise your children, because son, at 13, they see you as a threat. So now I can't wait to 12 and 13 to allow you to start making some major errors. I need to let you start making errors at 7, 8, 9, so that by the time you get to 11 and 12, you have a little bit of autonomy, and it's rough for parents to do, particularly mothers for young children, to say, you know what, go ahead and do it. Let's just see what happens. I ain't even gonna say nothing. Just let you do what you do.
That is
hard. It's hard.
It's hard. And you mentioned single moms. Now, so I have 2 children, and I was a single mom for most of their life. I didn't get married until 2 years ago. And so, you know, for me, I would agree, as a single mom sometimes, and knowing a lot of other single moms, I think sometimes you feel sorry for the lack of another parent being very present in the household. You try to make accommodations to make sure that you do everything and spoil them a little too much sometimes.
A little too much.
And then the other part of it is not wanting them to mess up. So I like what you said about allowing them to just do what they do and have them learn from it, even if they mess up, right? We can't teach them everything, especially for my daughter right now, who's getting ready to go to college at Hampton University. I think that for her, I want her to just live and show me what she's going to do now. So when she, then when she's down there,
well, a mentor of mine told me once, he said, listen, most people pray for success.
Right.
What they should be praying for are failures. Because you don't learn from your successes. When you do something, you're successful, you think you know it.
Right. Yes.
I'm good.
Yes, indeed.
I did that thing.
I was talking to one of my NEOs in our Frederick County alumni chapter today about that. And when you say that, I liken it to humility and how important that is to have. Oh my goodness. So I feel like being a restorative practitioner, I've learned, and being part of many different processes going through Heyward, that humility is really important. So I'm the one who is always trying to be restorative and to fix things. And so it's interesting that you say that. I love that. And so the final question is, what is some advice? You talked a lot, you've already given a lot of strategies. So thank you for being a parent, being a realtor, being like, man, jack of all trades. What would be something that you would also add as you close out this interview for parents and for students? Let's go to like high school age students.
Parents, give your children as many experiences as possible.
Opportunities, yes, I agree.
That I believe that is probably the major difference in my life.
Yeah.
I can't say that there are a lot of people, there are no millionaires in my family, and no one owns, some major 500. I don't have that in my immediate family. Most of my immediate family are pastors. I have, a couple folks who've done well in corporate America, but nothing, we're just a regular family. But experiences, allow your children to have different experiences. Take them, on trips. Allow them to get on that boat. Allow them to go to that summer camp. Allow them to, just do different things that maybe you wouldn't normally do, just so they can understand that the world is bigger than the block that they grew up on. There is something more out there than what they know, that there's a whole world out there. And some people never see the other sides, or there are a million different sides. So you want to make sure your kids see enough of the world to know that it's just what happens in my house ain't the only way that it happens.
Right.
For students, I probably say the same thing. Go out there and experience as much as you possibly can. Be fearless. Don't be afraid to fail. Matter of fact, when you see failure, run at it as fast as you can, because I guarantee you, the faster and more often you fail, the faster you will find the success greater than you can possibly imagine. You cannot succeed without failing. So when you're scared, when you are thinking about, should I do this? Can I do this? Just run for it. Just go for it.
I love
Let
it.
the chips fall where they may.
I love it.
That would be my advice.
I totally agree. I think that I would not be Jeneen and the founder of Jeneen Cares if it hadn't been for the opportunities of the legacy leaders, the mentors, the coaches, the principals who I trained under, who really understood how important it is to pour into others and to give opportunities. So thank you so much for your time today. Again, I'm
Thank you.
Jeneen of Jeneen Cares, celebrating at Howard University Bison, an Omega
All right.
Day, and also single dad ladies. Alpha
Watch out
chapter
now.
in the house. We're looking for legacy leaders. So if you know a legacy leader that you want to highlight, reach out to me, Jeneen Cares. Jeneen Cares is on YouTube, or you can go to jeneencares.org and find my website. Plenty of information. All of my interviews will be on jeneencares.org. And I look forward to talking more with some other legacy leaders. Thank you again today for your time.
Thank you.
Have
Thank you.
a wonderful afternoon.
Same to you. God bless.
God bless.